Hello, welcome to another episode of the It's the Pictures podcast. This is episode number 214. Kind of funny, it was just 214 yesterday as of this recording. So my name is Evan Crean, and I am joined, as always, by my excellent co-host, Max Colville.
How
Hey,
you
Max.
doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm excited to talk about our topic today on stunts. It should be really exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited to talk about stunts. It's a fun topic, and how do you surviving this winter? Is the snow finally starting to melt down there? It's finally starting to melt here, melting those massive ice dams in the gutters.
Funny enough, I was hired by my spouse to go outside and hammer ice dams earlier this week, so that was quite the episode. And to play on our stunts theme, I guess I've been going through some physical therapy for my shoulder because, like, I don't know if it's pickleball injuries or I fell while ice skating, but I'm certainly feeling like I'm part of the stunt team this week.
Yeah, feeling a little banged up. Did you
Yeah.
did you put a net out when you're up on the ladder trying to hammer out those ice dams?
No, I didn't, but I tell you, between the mixture of like hammering the ice and then like pouring like the hot, like almost hot water like on the ice to try to weaken it, I was out there for like an hour. It was a lot of work.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I've been hammering, trying to chip away at icicles and things and knocking ice off the house the best I could as things have been melting. And I have one of those, I forget what it's called, but it's a tool that's specifically for breaking up ice. It looks kind of like a almost like a hoe, but it's got like a more reinforced like bottom to it. And I still was having such a hard time scraping through some of the ice, and I was scraping ice off the stairs of my deck, and it just came off in one gigantic sheet and almost landed on my toe. And I was like, "Oh, thank God it didn't!" But I had this like huge chunk of ice that I just like picked up and just hurled into my yard off the deck.
But it's outrageous too because it's like in my head I was like, this is a really cold winter, and then like you
Yeah,
look up some of the statistics from it, and they're like, oh yeah, you're not crazy. It's like the coldest winter we've had in 20 years or something.
yeah, no, I was reading a story too about like apparently like contracting crews have been working overtime to try and like break up all these ice dams, and they're just like so busy, but it's been so cold, it's like it's not really melting. Ice hasn't really been melting. We finally got some decent days recently. Sorry to listeners, so it's cold here. I'm sure it's cold there too, wherever you are, unless you're listening somewhere nice and warm, in which case we're jealous. But yeah, let's jump into some news. Very recently, I believe there was a big football game that was played, Max.
Yeah, the on paper there was supposed to be a big football game where my beloved New England Patriots got walloped, and I think they'll be back, but it was not a good football game.
Yeah, it sounded rough from when you I think we were texting in the middle of the game and you're like, "Yeah, the Patriots haven't scored yet." I was like, "Uh-oh, that's not good." It's not good. I
Funny,
don't
funny enough, Evan, like so many people like I talked to, mainly conservatives that are family members, they had such a big problem with the Bad Bunny halftime show, and I'm like, at the end of the day, that's probably my favorite part of the whole thing because I was like, it was a bad game.
Yeah, it sounds like that was at least hopeful and uplifting, and it seemed like there wasn't a lot of hope to be found in the rest of the proceedings. Oh man, I'm sorry, Max. That's a bummer. I don't follow football, but it's always sad if the local team loses in the championship game. That's rough. Well, there were plenty of commercials which I didn't watch this year, and some movie trailers which I watched after the fact. Yeah, not a ton of surprises, right? In terms of things that we saw trailers for. We got a Disclosure Day trailer. We got Supergirl, Project Hail Mary. There's some Pixar movie, right? Hoppers. We got a Minions trailer, Mandalorian and Grogu, Super Mario Galaxy. Felt like more of like a teaser than a real trailer per se. Like Devil Wears Prada, I think was one of the ones I was surprised to see a trailer for. Like what? Okay.
Yeah.
We got Michael Jackson biopic, and then also a trailer you Max you had to remind me about because I didn't even remember the fact that Netflix dropped a trailer for The Adventures of Cliff Booth, which is a spin-off of the Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, following Brad Pitt's character. And you reminded me they didn't even put a name on the movie.
Yeah, that was a choice. It's just
Yeah,
like, and I think like they showed it and like during like the clip had like things like blurred out, and I didn't know like
yeah,
why exactly they did it that way, and maybe we'll find out why.
Yeah, maybe it had this like kind of listeners had this kind of like scratch out effect where it was like scratching out people's mouths and middle fingers and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it's a truly odd decision to me not to put a name on a movie. I don't really know that Once Upon a Time has that good recognition that literally like anybody off the street would know what the hell this trailer is. But Max, did you have like a favorite trailer, or did you think any particular movies looked like really good?
No, like I don't think like any of the trailers sold me on like anything that I didn't want to see. I think
Mm-hmm.
like ever since they like I say they, but studios have decided to, not show full trailers. They basically say, here's a 15-second teaser
Mm-hmm.
and go online if you want to watch the full trailer. Like I've been less excited about what they
Mm-hmm.
show actually during the event.
Yeah.
So it really hasn't changed. Like I still want to see Disclosure Day.
Same. Yep.
Even though I read Project Hail Mary and I wasn't as wild about it as I was The Martian, I'll probably end up seeing that too. I like science fiction, so.
Me too. Yeah, I actually separately just saw the trailer for that the other day and thought it was really, really good, or looked like it would be really good and my kind of movie. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about Supergirl. I mean, I didn't think the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer is kind of it's kind of dumb to me. Even though I'm excited about the movie, I was just kind of like, "What the hell is this trailer? What are
Yeah,
we
that was
even doing
awful.
here?"
Like
Yeah,
that looked like a Budweiser ad as opposed to like a Star Wars movie.
right. Yeah, I heard it had a pretty decent backlash too. People really hated that too. They hated that ad. Well,
There wasn't any as far as ads went too. It's like it was a pretty weak Super Bowl. I know you said you didn't watch the game, but there was a lot of ads for artificial intelligence and a lot of things that just weren't all that interesting.
yeah, I heard that. I heard there was a lot of ads for AI and kind of like intangible things, like not like products, just weird nothing stuff, and that's super disappointing because like that's part of the fun of the Super Bowl is like watching the commercials for like Doritos and things like that, and the wacky stuff that they're gonna pull off.
Yeah, I mean, to just talk on it because it's such a local brand with Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' had a huge
Hmm.
ad and where they like recreated Goodwill Hunting, but with Ben Affleck as like the lead, and they like de-aged a whole bunch of different actors to like appear in this ad, which made people upset.
Hmm.
And there was a big joke at the end that like they'd have like a Jennifer in the ad, and it wasn't going to be either of his ex-wives, but Jennifer Aniston instead. So
That is funny. Gotta love dunks. They keep things interesting. All right. I think there was some news too about separate from the Super Bowl. We had a couple other things we wanted to talk about. There's a Baldur's Gate TV show apparently that's going to be based on Baldur's Gate 3, and this is a video game, listeners. I'm talking about this because I don't know this. Max is definitely going to fill me in on this, but apparently it's going to be from The Last of Us co-creator Craig Mazin for HBO. So Max, tell me more about this Baldur's Gate business.
yeah, so Hasbro, another local Rhode Island company, owns the Wizards of the Coast, which in turn owns the Dungeons and Dragons license.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of licensed it out to the Summer Studio to make Baldur's Gate 3. I guess time and money were no expense because the game was in beta for a long time. And when it eventually came out after being play tested to death, it won tons of awards, even for being like a game with a heavy Dungeons and Dragons rule set. It
Mm-hmm.
still was able to sell millions and millions of copies, win countless awards for best story and what have you. A monster success. But at the end of the day, the studio that Hasbro paid to make the game, they aren't really going to be making another one. So instead, Hasbro is taking the success of that title and instead continuing it with a TV show instead of what The Last of Us had to do, which was kind of adapt a video game story that already existed. They're just going to be able to take these characters that existed in Baldur's Gate 3 and continue their story however they see fit. So, a little bit more creative choice, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
to what they'll ultimately do. I don't know. It was funny, like, Evan, like, so many people liked the first season of The Last of Us, which I think
Yeah,
coincides with the games. I think like the first game story is like more pleasing for a lot of people,
yeah,
and whereas the second story is, I guess, like polarizing. I like it, but like
me too.
it's not as like rah rah that the first game kind of feels.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that has to do with the fact that people like neat, tidy stories where they know who to root for. And I think what's so great about the second Last of Us game is it takes the character who, was the hero, the protagonist, emerging from the first game and makes them the villain and makes you think, like, wow, I shouldn't be rooting for this person. This person is transformed into a very bad person, hell bent on revenge and violence, and this is not a good way to be. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, of the like messiness of that, and being like, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't be rooting for this person. Maybe I should be considering this other person's point of view that like starts out as kind of like the villain of the game. And I find that super frustrating. I just don't think they did a good job adapting it on HBO in the second season. I thought they made bizarre narrative choices that I just kept thinking, like, why do they cut this and leave this, and what the hell are they doing? Just really is a head scratcher. I hope that the next season is better, but I'm not optimistic based on some of the choices they've already made.
Yeah, like I don't knowing like I played through The Last of Us Part 2, and like so I kind of felt like I didn't need to watch the second season.
Mm,
And so I didn't relive it. But from hearing online, there was lots of similar feelings towards it as what the game came out. But even like you said, people who enjoyed the story of the game were maybe even disappointed by some of the directions that the TV show differed.
totally. Yeah, like, over on Spoiler Piece, my co-hosts Dave and former co-host Megan, they are also huge fans of the game. Both have, like me, have played through multiple times, and they're just like, we are all just so utterly disappointed by season two.
But yeah, so I think a Baldur's Gate TV show could be a big deal. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
HBO is looking for another fantasy series and video game that's perfect mixture for them
Right.
that they can get
Couldn't
into.
couldn't hurt to add more to the stable. We got Dune, we got Game of Thrones spin-offs. Let's throw another one in the pile and hopefully spin a nice franchise out of it. All right, well, I'll be interested to see what comes of that. Maybe I'll check it out. But I think the last news item we wanted to talk about is it's some big 4K movies are some big movies are coming out on 4K on Tuesday, February 17th, which I'm sure will be just after this episode drops. We've got Ben-Hur, All the President's Men, A Beautiful Mind, Predator: Badlands, and Nightcrawler. That's quite the collection of movies that are coming to 4K. Max, have you gotten review copies of any of these?
So I got review copies of Ben-Hur and All the President's Men, which I'm eagerly looking to spend. I love both those movies for very different reasons, obviously. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I guess you could say they're both dramas, but one's an investigative drama, uh, more akin to the Best Picture winner Spotlight that came out a few years ago,
Right. Yeah.
whereas Ben-Hur is just epic filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
They're both excellent movies for entirely different reasons. I remember, well, also an Oscar winner, A Beautiful Mind. I did not get a review copy of that one, but I think it's notable because it did win Best Picture. I'm sure people are excited about it. I did see Predator's Badlands in theaters, and I thought that was excellent.
Nice.
Really fun action movie. So I think that it's great that that's coming right to 4K. I know it took a long time for Prey to come out to home video.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great that Badlands is coming out very quickly. And I have not seen Nightcrawler. It's one of those movies that's always been like on like the back burner for me, but I know people love it, so
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I'm a recent convert to Nightcrawler. I saw it within the last like year or so and thought it was excellent. So that's cool. I'm definitely looking forward to Predator: Badlands. That was one that I missed that I'm very excited to see. And All the President's Men agree. It's just an excellent film. But you know what? I have never seen Ben-Hur and I've never seen A Beautiful Mind.
hmm.
Yeah.
I tell you, I'm a Jewish man, but I'm like Ben-Hur is probably like the closest like Catholic propaganda that I've ever felt like. Yeah, this Jesus thing sounds.
You're like, all right, you've made a case.
Yeah.
You haven't converted me, but you've made a case.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. Yeah, it's definitely like the Christ story, but like adjacent, where you're following Ben Hur, whereas like in the background everything's happening with Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I think that also kind of leads into our topic for today,
Hmm.
right? You know, we're talking about stunts. It's the Criterion Channel's theme of the month, and also it's going to be in, you know, in an Oscar category that's getting added in 2028. There's going to be an Oscar category for best stunt design.
Tom Cruise would argue a little too late after appearing in 8 Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah, seriously, I'm sure he's severely disappointed that, but he'll find some other thing to throw himself off probably. But
Yeah.
the time that comes out, and Max, you also sent me this letterboxed post from the Criterion Channel with some curated lists of films, some stunts,
Yeah,
and
those are the movies that were included in the channel theme this month.
right, yeah. So I'll share that list. It's Face Off, To Live and Die in L.A., Ben Hur. What's this one? Safety Last. This is Buster Keaton. Bullet, Steve McQueen. Buster Keaton's The General. Steamboat Bill Jr. Stagecoach, Gone in 60 Seconds. The original, I'm assuming. Burt Reynolds' Hooper. Death Proof. Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof. The Hunted. I don't think that's one I'm familiar with. Hardboiled. Jackie Chan's Police Story, and Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. So 10 films
15.
celebrated. Or, sorry, yeah, 15 films
Mm.
celebrated stunts that they're recognizing. Yeah. I mean, these films contain some very iconic stunts. We'll talk more about some of those in a minute. Max, did you have anything else you wanted to add about our topic for today?
No, I'm just like really excited to talk about it. I know I've always been interested in stunt films, and I thought like maybe like Mad Max 2 is a stand-in for maybe Fury Road, because Fury Road is so famous for its stunt work. And we're also going to
Mm-hmm.
be talking briefly about The Fall Guy, which came out 24, which seems like it just came out yesterday, but now it's almost a year and a half old.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie was it's just a lot of fun, and they put a great effort into highlighting the stunt industry and stunt workers. And I don't know, it's just something I've always been fascinated by in this age where like CG and, you know, God forbid, artificial intelligence is going to be taking the place of a lot of traditional stunts. I really want to like highlight some of these older movies, and you can watch a movie like Ben Hur and know without a shadow of a doubt that there were stunt actors performing, because they didn't have the computer technology then to make those any other way. I guess like one that I find funny is like there's a Charlie Chaplin movie, Modern Times, and it looks like the craziest stunt ever. He's like roller skating, and it looks like he's got roller skate off the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never seen this video, look it up. And they show you how it was accomplished with like doing like a matte painting behind him to make it look like he was gonna fall off a cliff or something like that. But I was just like, that was so fascinating, and just like not only what these actors and actresses went through to achieve these stunts, but you know, the camera tricks and what have you
Right.
before the age of big computer effects.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a like you said, a combination of visual tricks and also just some like real grit and some bravery on the part of these performers. Like, you know, I think, you know, there's a bunch that we'll talk about. You know, some of the stunts that we're going to talk about. But you know, there's, you know, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, Harold Lloyd. Those are Yakima Canet. Is that how you say his name?
Yakima cannot.
Cannot. There's some of the, like, you know, early, you know, respected stunt performers, and then, you know, of course there's some ones we know today like Jackie Chan, Tom Cruise, Keanu Reeves, and various others like Jason Statham, Michelle Yeoh, Donnie Yen, Bruce Lee. These are all like incredible performers that we've seen do lots of crazy stunts. But I think there was a list, Max, you had of like 10 of some of the most memorable stunts that you probably wanted to dig into, right?
Yeah, and this is kind of a extension of the theme on Criterion. So
Mm-hmm.
normally when they do these themed list of episodes or movies, they have a speaker come in and talk about why they selected these films, or you know, the significance of each one. And there's like a neat little 16-minute like that a featurette attached where it goes through the history of very briefly. And similar to how we're talking about them today and talking about these silent film stars and whether or not it was a film like The General with like moving from train to train, or you have in Steamboat Bill Jr., where Buster Keaton had to stand perfectly still while a house kind of falls all around him. And if he kind of messes it up in any way, there would not be another take possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was number one on the list, right? Steamboat Bill Jr., the house fall stunt. It was, the outline you mentioned that Buster Keaton had to stand still while 2-ton facade collapsed around him is insane to me. That if he had been off his mark by even a couple of inches, he would have been crushed. Like that's when they just had to do the thing. There wasn't they didn't couldn't rely on CG. It's like at a certain point you also can't even rely on visual tricks. It was like they just had to have the whole thing collapse around him. That's nuts. That's so fucking brave on his part to be
Yeah,
able to do that.
and there's a lot of great movies talking about the stunt life. I already mentioned The Fall Guy, but
Mm-hmm.
watching this featurette, they also talk about Burt Reynolds' Hooper, which
Mm.
is a movie that I haven't seen before, but they go into
Yeah, me
great
neither.
detail about how Burt Reynolds plays a legendary stuntman, and just honoring that craft. And I think about Singing in the Rain. I told you when I picked this up that I wanted to mention that too, where there's this
Mm-hmm.
long, almost prologue sequence where Gene Kelly is a classic stuntman in silent films. And that's kind of how he works his way up through Hollywood and becomes this big star in silent film. When it comes time for the talkies to take over, which is the plot of the whole movie, he's able to still do it because he has the charisma and like he can dance and sing as well as do all his own stunts,
Mm-hmm.
which makes him quite the fearless performer.
I'm embarrassed to say I've never seen Singing in the Rain.
Boy, that one to the backlog.
Yeah, no
I love
kidding.
that movie, but one movie that came out in 1939, which we mentioned, Yakima Canutt, the featurette says that he was responsible for a lot of stunts revolving like horsework. A lot of those early stunts were really because westerns were big, right, Evan?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
they focused on a lot of work with horses and stuff, and he knew what he was doing. There's this shot specifically in Stagecoach where I guess the character he's portraying is like holding on to these horses, and like
Yep.
he
Falls
falls
between them.
on the ground and then goes underneath the carriage perfectly. And
Yeah.
it's such a crazy stunt when you watch it. It's like, how did he even do that in 1939?
Yeah, it's crazy to think about because yeah, I watched that in prep for this episode because I haven't seen Stagecoach, so I was like, I gotta see this stunt, and oh my god, it's death defying is the only way to describe it. Let someone be crazy enough to do that, slide between like stampeding horses that could crush you. My god.
Yeah, and like in the featurette they mentioned Ben-Hur too. Like years later, he was also like looking over the chariot race, which is like one of the was one of the big action set pieces in Ben-Hur.
Mm-hmm.
And his son became a stunt performer as well. And there's this sequence in the chariot race where it looks like something's going wrong, and the performer who's supposed to be Judah Ben-Hur, Charlton Heston, seems to almost like fly out of his chariot. You know, they it was a mistake, but it added to the drama of the moment, and they caught it on tape. So they're like, we're gonna keep this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I see on this list, Evan, and I guess like they that we pulled is like they talk about one specific James Bond stunt. And I think
Mm-hmm.
we'd be remiss not to say just like the James Bond franchise at large, right? There's so
Right.
many memorable stunt performers in Bond.
Yeah, there's so many crazy things that they do with cars as well in the James Bond films. Every Bond movie I feel like has at least one like totally insane set piece that happens in it. But yeah, this one was The Spy Who Loved Me. They call it the Asgard jump. And the opening scene, Bond skis off a massive cliff in Switzerland, and then you're kind of watching in silence as the person, the stunt performer Rick Sylvester, is in a free fall until they parachute. It's basically just base jumping, which is like one of the most dangerous things you can do. And apparently it was a stunt that cost $500,000, which was a record at the time for accomplishing this single shot. And boy, I rewatched it again earlier today. It is truly terrifying.
Right, and I mean, like, so The Spy Who Loved Me came out in 1977, where, whatever standards for stunts were, that was it at the time. And it's certainly much more today when Tom Cruise is doing his base jumps in like Mission Impossible 7 or 8.
Yeah, when he's like riding a motorcycle off a cliff to a base jump and
Yeah.
practicing it like a million times, like he apparently did. Man.
Well, you and I talked a little bit before this episode, and we so after kind of horsing after doing a lot of stunts regarding horses, the next best big thing was doing car chases, right?
Right.
And one of the most well-known or earliest car chase that is a staple is the one in Bullet with Steve McQueen. And you said you watched Bullet recently.
No, I mean I've seen it before, and it is such an iconic car chase. Well, first of all, the car itself in Bullet is an iconic. It's like a '60s Mustang, green Mustang. It has a very iconic look, and I feel like the car chase is so intense. You're just like rip roaring around San Francisco, like up and down these crazy hills. It's so intense. I feel like it's like pretty long too in the
Mm-hmm.
context of the movie. Like this going for like a while.
Yeah, I think definitely the setting plays a lot to this car chase because like you have the very hilly like San Francisco environment, and it's very unnerving.
Yeah, it's incredibly under, and then it like helps that you got Steve McQueen. The kid they call him like the king of cool or whatever. It's like,
Mm.
you know, super like cool cat Steve McQueen, but in this like crazy car chase sequence. But yeah, it's one hell of a chase. Listeners, if you've never seen Bullet, I highly recommend it. But the bare minimum, you really should see this car chase because it's intense.
Yeah, and I think like McQueen was also one of those actors who loved doing his own stunts, and I think like there's another British movie, The Great Escape, that's pretty famous that he
Mm-hmm.
famously did his own like motorcycle stunts. So like there's a big motorcycle sequence at the end of that one.
Yeah, that is quite the stunt. Let me tell you, it's intense. Yeah, he's like driving a motorcycle, and he's like pulls it off like some huge jump or something. I can't.
Mm.
It's been a while since I've seen The Great Escape, but I also remember that being like a whoa standout moment in the film.
Right, and hmm?
I I think it's cool that they included To Live and Die in L.A. on this list of car chases, or in this list because of its car chase as well. William Friedkin, that guy knows how to shoot a car chase between the French Connection and Live and Die in L.A., which is Sorcerer. Like there's some really intense car scenes in Live and Die in L.A. too. That it's one of those like I think I remember the characters are like driving against traffic in the middle of like a busy freeway. Woof.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because like if I so the guy who they used for the interview, let me see if I can get his name up here. His name is Buddy Joe Hooker, and apparently he's a legendary stuntman himself. And
Mm-hmm.
he did some of these stunts for William Friedkin's films, and he talks like how he wanted a car chase scene that was going to be better than French Connection, otherwise it wasn't worth doing it. So, um, so they worked really hard on that one. Apparently, Billy Joe Hooker's been in the business for a long time, and I think another reason why like something like Death Proof was included because he did that one as well, and I think that Death Proof is just worth watching only for its stunts because like as a movie it's not much, but
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, there's not much there, but there is there when it comes to the stunt work and the car chases. They're the reason to tune into this movie because otherwise you're just listening to Quentin Tarantino, you know, pontificating and talking, and it's one of those ones where it's like you're literally just watching every character as the voice of Quentin Tarantino. more so than his other movies. It can be quite frustrating, actually, in scenes where you're like, all right, I'm just listening to you like jabber on about this or that. It's kind of like the opening scene of True Romance when Christian Slater's character is talking about, well, I'm not gay, but I'd fuck Elvis.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm just listening to Quentin Tarantino right now.
No, and it's funny, like Evan, when I remember when I saw a little tangent, but still with Death Proof. I remember when I saw Death Proof, it was as part of Grindhouse, and
Me too.
I still say to this day that I don't think I'd watch either movie separately, but if I was presented with the opportunity to watch it with like the trailers and everything, I'd probably rewatch it.
Well, come on over. I've got it. Because I refuse to buy either of those movies until they release them in the Grindhouse format. Because I agree, I had zero interest in watching either of them as a standalone. Even though the fact that Death Proof included whatever like missing reels were of the movie that were left out of Grindhouse, I was just like, no, this is part of a package deal to me. I'm not going to watch either of these on their own.
Yeah, I agree fully, and they definitely work better together than they ever do alone.
Yeah, yeah. While we're on the topic of car chases, I mean, this list also includes, the polecats sequence in Mad Max Fury Road, which is really fun. Like the people swinging on the poles, jumping on the cars. One of the stunts that I was like, if we're doing a stunt episode, I can not do it without talking about the truck chase in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is one of the best friggin' stunts of all time. We talked about Stagecoach. It's really a tribute to Stagecoach, this stunt, but it's incredible. I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's one of my favorite movies. I watched it to death as a kid, and my VHS copy was barely playable, but for tracking. Remember tracking on
Mm,
VCRs, Max? I needed tracking extensively on that because I watched it to death. But this truck chase sequence where the Nazis have the Ark and Indy is trying to fight through a whole convoy and take control of the truck is just it's nail biting, and it's like he gets shot, he's like thrown out, he's dragged underneath the truck. It's incredible.
yeah, I love Raiders of the Lost Ark too. It's like one. It's funny when I think about Steven Spielberg movies. I know we had that big episode about Jaws last year, and over the
Mm-hmm.
years, probably Jaws has become, my personal favorite Spielberg movie. But that there's probably 10 or so that I'd watch if you just said, "Oh yeah, you want to watch this today?" Sure. I know, like even when it came time to like watch something, we had a projector in our backyard, Evan,
Mm-hmm.
and during COVID, so we could watch like a big screen movie. The movies we picked were like Jaws and Raiders of the Lost Ark because I like those are the ones that I wanted to see as movies.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. Like at my desk right now, I have a special like metal Indiana Jones Funko Pop, and I have a copy of the Grail Diary from
Mm,
Last Crusade.
yeah. So even moving on from Raiders, you kind of moved into the middle 80s to like early 90s, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the you had like Jackie Chan movies like Police Story,
Yep.
a lot of action. He had his whole Jackie Chan has a whole stunt team that he's known for, just incredible stunts. Then you had in that same realm, you had like director John Woo, who was making films, the stuff that didn't necessarily come to the States not until he did Face Off.
Oh,
But but before that, he did movies like
Hard Boiled. Is that one of his?
Hard Boiled,
Yeah.
and The Killer, and a bunch of those movies are finally coming out via like Shout Studios, like Hong Kong classics, and it's a great genre of films. I've been trying to watch a whole bunch of them myself that I was blind to, but Hard Boiled is terrific. It's definitely the inspiration for films like The Matrix or the John Wick movies because it's just like, just the body count is tremendous. There's lots of gunplay and jumping and slow motion
Mm-hmm.
and just really memorable stunts. Countless actors probably jumping through fake glass.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Police Story because Although I've not seen it, I have seen its infamous mall pole slide stunt where Jackie Chan jumps on a metal pole that's covered in fairy lights, slides down 4 stories through glass, and crashes into like a kiosk below. And it's just an example, one of many, of his willingness to put his body on the line for the stunts that he was doing. So in this stunt, he suffered second-degree burns and dislocated his pelvis. And it's an incredible stunt.
Yeah, and
Like, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that he walked away from that, let alone wanted to keep doing, because 1985, not the last action movie Jackie Chan did.
Evan, what's funny too is like Jackie Chan started like having at the end of all his movies, he ended up having like blooper reels almost, or like
Yeah.
statement clips of like everything, all the stunts that he did during the movie, and
Hmm.
like most of it is just like him being like taken to like a medical truck or something.
Well, yeah, there was Rumble in the Bronx where he broke his ankle doing a stunt, and he just like basically put a boot on it and put like a little bootie that made it look like he was still wearing like a regular sneaker, and just went back to work and was like still doing his stunts. This is also mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, what another movie that's not included here was Police Story 3, which funny enough, I've seen Police Story 3. I haven't seen the second one yet, and although I own it, I should probably watch it. But the third one has Michelle Yeoh in it, and she's, standing toe to toe with Jackie Chan doing a lot of the stunts in this movie, and it's just another crazy stunt fest for Jackie Chan and company.
Yeah, I always loved that he's always had such a great sense of humor as a performer. It's like he can make stunts that are memorable, but he's also having a blast doing it, and he can, he's like really like you can tell he's having fun. He wants the audience to have fun, and yeah, he's such an incredible performer.
All right, and then you had like I said before, you had um the Matrix come out, right? And then you
Yep,
had a lot of the wire fu stuff. Certainly in Lee's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon,
yep,
you continued a lot of that wire fu stuff, and then you went all the way to, nowadays you go to a John Wick movie, right? If you want to see stunts and uh,
exactly.
you know what you're getting into, and and it's funny we mentioned the Fall Guy. Both John Wick and the Fall Guy, they were directed by the guys who did John Wick, both former stunt guys.
Right.
So you knew you were in good hands going into them with how much stunts were going to be on display.
Yeah, yeah. The Matrix I know drew inspiration from a lot, but also inspired so much, It was
Hmm.
such a groundbreaking movie at the time in terms of its stunt work. And, it was often imitated and often parodied as well. Like how many movies did we see where somebody did that like jumping crane kick where they're like hanging in the air? It's like Shrek parodied
You're
it,
right.
like
You just mentioned
Charlie's
Shrek.
Angels, Scary Movie, like everybody like made that joke for like years after the Matrix came out. There was this one on the list from 2003, the Ong Bak.
Hmm.
I'd never seen Ong Bak, but I watched this chase sequence that was on the list, and now I'm like, I need to watch this movie because I was watching like a part of the market chase, and I
Mm.
could not believe the kinds of stunts that they were doing, like running and jumping over and through things, and then seeing him jump through a ring of barbed wire. That was, oh my God. I'm like, where have I been? I need to watch this movie.
Yeah, that was one I haven't seen either, but listen to you speak to it. I should definitely add it to my short list. But no, I still love going to the movies to see like fantastic stunts, Evan. I know
Hmm.
for some people it's not like the biggest draw of a movie, and then other people are like convinced that actors don't do their own stunts. But you know what? At the end of the day, there are people who are doing the stunts.
Right. Hmm. Yeah, and they're risking their lives in a lot of cases to make things to entertain us. And I think we need to show them a lot more appreciation. So I'm glad that Oscars is now including a stunts category in the future. As you said, Tom Cruise would say it's long overdue, and it really is. It really is an art. It's incredible the amount of planning, rehearsal, and things that need to come together to make a stunt work. It's something we should be celebrating and respecting. it's the performers, and like you said, some are stunt people, and some are the actors doing their own stunts. Tom Cruise does his own stunts. People like Jason Statham are doing their own stunts. It's incredible the kind of work that they're juggling as performers.
Yeah, right. Not only are they signing up for a performance role, but they're also signing up for maybe months of training, whether or not it be like karate or stunt training in order to do some of these sequences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think more recently, Evan, I heard on the wire that like Henry Cavill was injured while doing the stunts for the new Highlander movie that's supposed to be coming out, and they had to like delay shooting while he recovered. And it's just like another instance of like actors really putting in the extra mile to get the best product on screen, best of the best art, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
not product.
Yeah. I had no clue they were doing another Highlander movie. This is entertaining news to me.
Yeah, Henry Cavill, he's
Well, it can't be any worse than Highlander 2: The Quickening. That is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
yeah. Highlander is such a difficult premise to continue after one movie because it's just like
Yeah.
I've never seen the second one, so you can humor me, Evan. Is it more like even though you've killed everybody and you know everything now, there might be like one other person who you didn't kill yet?
It is bizarre, Max. Like, it is a like weirdly nonsensical story that takes place in some type of weird future. I can't even describe to you. It's so out there. And this is a movie I saw like many years ago, so of course I'm not remembering a lot of the specifics of it, but it's like it makes no sense, and it's just truly bad on all levels. Like, I suffered through watching it.
Right, and you can argue that like music from Queen makes any bad movie good. Like if you look at like Flash Gordon,
Mm-hmm.
I like Flash Gordon fine, but like it's made that much better because it has Queen
Mm-hmm.
music.
It's true. That is quite the incredible theme.
But we had talked before doing this stunt thing. Was there other like movies that you think of when you think of like stunts that you really admire, or maybe just action sequences that are like some of your favorites?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really talk about the Mission Impossible films. I mean, like every one of those has at least one incredible stunt, and one of the ones on the list was the Burj Khalifa climb from Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which Tom Cruise is out on that building himself. He's harnessed in there, but he was on the building, and he did
Hmm.
so much prep to do it. This is something I actually know about because I did like a press thing for Ghost Protocol. But basically, they built a rig for him to climb as practice for being out there, and they heated it to the same temperature it would be when he would be out there. So he practiced being out there in like 90, 100-degree heat, climbing, doing these stunts and things to just get ready to go out there and do it. And they were talking about there was like a moment where there was some downtime, and he was just out there on the harness, sitting out there on the building, and there's like a moment of quiet, and then they hear thump, 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 woo! And he like ran and was like swinging off the side just for fun, and everyone was like, "What a madman Tom Cruise is!" But yeah, every one of his has some incredible stunt that you're just like, "Oh my god!" Like the Mission Impossible, the first one, there's the whole thing in the train with the helicopter. There's the second one, there's all the motorcycle business, and among the base the like rock climbing thing in the beginning. And I haven't seen three, but like from there on, there's just always some incredible death defying stunt that he's doing. But I think it would be hard not to talk about the Fast and Furious movies, which are putting out crazy stunts too. I mean, some heavy lifting with CG on occasion to make some of them. Like I think it's the seventh one. They drive a car from like one skyscraper to another or something. But I mean, Fast Five has that incredible scene where they yank the safes out and they're driving them all over, Rio de Janeiro. I think it's the sixth one. They have the whole thing with the tank. They have the plane that's taking off that they like stop from taking off with their cars. Like you can always count on Fast and Furious for like totally bonkers.
Yeah,
stunts.
yeah, nothing else. They have to employ all these stunt drivers, right? I mean,
Right.
if you're saying like there's a lot of CG involved, or the actors aren't doing it, sure, but there's probably a team of stunt drivers involved with these Fast and Furious movies for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So feel like I couldn't do a stunt episode without talking about the Fast and Furious and those movies. They've gotten exceedingly outlandish as over time has gone on because they just have to keep one upping themselves. You know, it's like they're going to space,
Hmm.
but there's still so much fun to watch, and it's really interesting to see the kind of new things they cook up between movies. What about you? What are any other movies you want to highlight or anything?
No, I don't know. Like I think the list and the stuff we added was pretty great. I saw a movie that took place during that 80s era with John Woo that's kind of like the Hong Kong cinema classics line. It was
Mm-hmm.
called Peking Opera Blues, and it came out in 1986. This movie was wildly entertaining with a lot of great wire work and performance, and just fantastic action. It stars like three actresses who have to embark on a quest, but also, there's like classic Peking opera involved too, and it's directed by like Sue Hark, and I really enjoyed the action in this movie. And I think like if you haven't really explored the like Hong Kong movies that came out like in the mid '80s, early '90s, there's a lot going to be coming out via Shout and maybe even on Criterion Channel with the Hong Kong classics. I think you can watch a lot of them on Tubi too with like ads, so you can
Mm-hmm.
watch them free with ads. Um, Certainly a plethora of great action movies that maybe you haven't seen before. I would suggest those.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's great that they're so like I watch some stuff on Tubi occasionally because like I subscribe to many streaming things, but occasionally I'm just like, okay, I gotta cry uncle at some point. I can't pay for watching everything or rent everything. And I have to say, at least Tubi is good about the ad breaks being quick
Hmm.
versus like some of the other platforms. You're just like, oh my god, I'm interrupting the movie and I have to watch like so many long commercials. Tubi at least makes them tolerably short, even if there's a few of them.
Well, that's good to know. Like, I don't think I've watched anything on Tubi, but it's good to know that like it's not too painful of an experience.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been a really fun conversation about stunts, and should we switch over to our station identification?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. So you've been listening to the It's the Pictures podcast, and let's see. Obviously, get us anywhere you get podcasts, and we appreciate any ratings and reviews you would like to give us on those platforms. That kind of helps increase our cred in the podcast world. So you can also tell a friend about the show. That's very much appreciated. Word of mouth is always good. And yeah, you can follow us on social media. We're in a few places where it's the pictures or it's the pic pod, depending on where you're at. But we're on Instagram. I know, Max, you have a letterbox account for the show. You can also hit us up on Threads and Blue Sky. That's probably where we're the most active, right? Those places. And let's see, where else is any social media I'm forgetting about?
Well, you can email us at it's the
Yep,
pictures at gmail.com if you'd like to.
yep. I was just gonna mention that.
Yeah, I can be found individually on Blue Sky most of the time, maxcolville.com, or just search Max Colville. Or you can follow along with what I've been watching at Letterboxd at MH Colville. I keep it pretty religiously up to date with whatever I'm watching.
Mm-hmm.
Although, like, sometimes, Evan, I don't add every kids movie that I watch.
Yeah, that's a tough one to keep up with. I've been trying to do a lot better about that though, by adding movies to my letterbox when I'm watching them with my kid.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then you run this great newsletter, which is
Well,
on
well,
the
well.
Ghost platform.
Yeah, well, they could find Evan over all these social media places at Real Recon.
Yep, it's true.
That's real as in film, real recon. And then yeah, the newsletter over on Ghost. If you want to find it, it's thepictures.com. I've been doing some reviews lately. I'll be talking about two of those films shortly. Send Help and what is it? Good luck. Have
Good luck,
fun.
have fun. Good luck, have fun. Don't die.
I was trying to remember what three-way it goes, and we talk about those shortly. I'm interested in doing more on stunts. I was maybe interested in doing an article on Knut because I didn't know too much about his history, but obviously an early pioneer in Hollywood stunts. So I might be interested in doing some extra writing about that soon.
Nice. So yeah, definitely look out for that. Definitely subscribe to the newsletter. There's lots of great stuff over there. Not all movie related too. Max will talk about TV. He's talking about anime. He's talking about video games. He does a really cool like gift buying guide for the pop culture fan in your life. There's lots of good stuff there. So definitely
So
subscribe.
yeah, subscribers get the Criterion of the month every month now. I've been doing.
Yeah. See, there's lots of good reasons to check out the newsletter and subscribe.
If February Network is coming out in like 2 weeks, Evan. If you've never seen Network, Network is a bloody fantastic film.
It's been on my list for a long time. Yeah, I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, so a great opportunity for audiences everywhere to come up with Network. And as an aside, Evan, like I talked about it, Network was actually nominated for Best Picture in a year that also All the President's Men, Rocky, and Taxi Driver were nominated for Best Picture.
Whoa,
So I
that
was like,
is brutal competition for Best Picture.
yeah, so I'm like, those are like four all timers. So
Damn, that is
I
impressive
mean, I guess
lineup.
maybe you could make the argument that maybe Rocky's the weakest, but like I still love myself Rocky. So
Yeah, me too. I love Rocky, but yeah, oh my god. Whew. All right, so let's get into what you've been watching, Max. You caught up with a couple of movies. Talked about a second ago. We'll talk about Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. But you also caught up with Sent Help, right?
yeah, I went to the theaters to see this one. You and I had talked about maybe doing like a Sam Raimi episode, but like we had already talked about Evil Dead, so we kind of nixed that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I was excited to see this. So this is like operates in that same register and like the register of like Drag Me to Hell, as opposed to like big Hollywood blockbuster Doctor Strange.
Yep.
It was actually during Doctor Strange 2 that Rami became acquainted with Rachel McAdams because she's like the female lead of that franchise.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Oh, well, she's really interesting as an actress, and I'd love to work with her on another project." So that was kind of the genesis of how Sent Help got made. And the movie stars Rachel McAdams, who's a kind of secluded worker. She likes to keep to herself with her bird. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
the most notable thing about her life is that she's a fanatic of the hit TV show Survivor. So much so that she's gone to great lengths to study, and she's made audition tapes to possibly appear on Survivor. It's a big deal to her.
Mm-hmm.
And when she gets the opportunity to go on a business trip with her terrible, terrible new boss, played by Dylan O'Brien, he kind of is like, "Oh, if you can close this deal for me, then maybe I'll give you a promotion. But you have to like really work hard at it."
Mm-hmm.
And if you've seen any of the promotional materials, you know that the plane crashes.
Right. Yeah.
All of a sudden, the dynamic changes where she was once beholden to him as her boss, but now she's very much in charge because she has all
Mm-hmm.
this survival aptitude. And not only is it funny, but you have a lot of that like splashy gore that Sam Raimi's known for, like just over the top, like
Mm-hmm.
geysers of blood, which is very funny. It's very exaggerated, but yeah, I enjoyed myself. I think like for the main reason of like I knew that a Rachel McAdams starring vehicle was something that I wanted to see, and in that case, I wasn't disappointed. I guess my only like hesitation, which I'm sure that a lot of people have that same kind of connection, is like it felt very similar to the Palme d'Or winner Triangle of Sadness that came out like a few
Mm.
years ago.
Yep.
But I don't necessarily believe that's a deterrent to seeing Sent Help. It just felt a little familiar.
Yeah, I got the sense based on the premise that would probably feel at least a little bit similar to Triangle of Sadness. But yeah, I like Sam Raimi, so I'm definitely excited to check this out at some point in the hopefully not too distant future.
And Evan, you watched something that wasn't the new Sam Rockwell movie too, right?
Yeah, I watched Caught Stealing yesterday. The Darren Aronofsky movie who came out last year. Kind of, I feel like kind of flew under the radar a little bit, at least in comparison to some of his other movies. And yeah, it's pretty wackadoo cast of characters. It's Austin Butler plays this guy who's a bartender, and his neighbor who's like a punk dude. This takes place in 1998 in New York City, by the way. His neighbor, who's this punk dude played by Matt Smith, kind of like skips town and leaves him holding the bag. Like there's a bunch of like like Nazi guys who are like Russian mafia guys who are like looking for uh money that he's stolen. Regina King is like a corrupt cop. You got Griffin Dunn who's like a bar owner. Zoe Kravitz is his love interest, and it's one of those like bouncing from group to group and playing people off each other and who shifting alliances kind of movies. I feel like it's kind of similar vein to things like Lucky Number 11, Seven Psychopaths, those kinds of like movies in that vein. And this movie has got a real mean streak to it too. There's some pretty pretty gruesome violence in it, and like kind of people are dispatched rather unceremoniously in the scenes. Max, did you see this one?
It's funny because we did. I think the last episode we were complaining about Darren Aronofsky, and it's funny that you caught up with one of his old ones. But I know it's on Netflix now.
Well, yeah, that was part of the reason I wanted to see it, but also I knew that Liev Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio play Orthodox Jews in this, and Carol Kane is in it as kind of a cameo. And yeah, so I was like, oh, I want to see that part of it in particular. This was one Sean I wanted to watch too, and yeah, I I liked it. I didn't love it, but yeah, it's shockingly violent. I had never really seen Austin Butler in anything, but I actually really liked him in the lead in this. He's he did a really good job of playing that like put upon character who is having to like just keep going through horrible situations that he's just like not totally not his fault and doing his best to see his way out of them. But yeah, like I said, the movie's kind of got a mean streak to it that I didn't love.
I think I've seen Austin Butler now in three movies: Elvis, Dune Part Two. I think like the Bike Riders, which came out.
Well, yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah, that like Jeff Nichols directed that, and I love some of his movies like Take Shelter and Mud
Yeah, Take Shelter's good.
and not so much Midnight Special. Midnight Special's okay. Loving is good too. But yeah, so that's why I want to see the Bike Riders. Kind of disappointed me, but neither here or there. Austin Butler, I think he's a pretty good actor. I'm excited to see what he does next, but maybe I'll catch up with Call It Stealing. I like I said last episode, I do like Darren Aronofsky movies. I just thought like this one kind of looked like Darren Aronofsky doing Guy Ritchie, and I was like, oh, okay, so
Yeah, it's kind of that. I wouldn't argue against that. It's a little bit of it's one of those cast of characters kind of movies. Like let's throw a bunch of people in here and get them in the mix. We'll have a lot
like
of big personalities going on.
I knew the studio had like zero faith in it because I think it came out like the last week of August, and like the like
Yeah,
no like big festival runs or anything. So I was like, oh, this must be pretty rough.
yeah. No, I don't think it deserved getting buried. That's for sure. I just was like, I think I was personally turned off by how glib it was in places.
Mm.
But yeah, I did like it. I did like Austin Butler in it. I likes the supporting performances as well in it. I don't love it has this kind of like gritty filter to it that's kind of like, oh look, it's the 90s. And I'm just like, I don't need that. I don't need that in a movie. But yeah. Anyway, that was Caught Stealing.
Well, the '90s was so long ago now, Evan.
I know. I know. Just feel old.
Yeah, I never feel older than I do when like people are like, oh, when Back to the Future was made, the '50s are as far away now as like the '80s are.
Yeah. You know what I have a problem with? I feel I couldn't feel older when I hear younger generations refer to it as the 1900s when they're talking about when they go in the late 1900s. I'm like, "Oh god.
Yeah.
No, I feel like I've aged 70 years in
Yeah,
1 minute.
there was this new meme that I saw, Evan, that plays on this, where it was like they're asking their coworkers when they were born, and anybody that was born like after 2000, yeah, sure, you're cool, but anybody that was like 19, and then they'd like cut to like a dinosaur scene or something. I'm just like, you bastards.
Yeah. We both saw the new Sam Rockwell movie, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, which is directed by Gore Verbinski. And it also has Juno Temple, Haley Lou Richardson, Michael Pena, Zazie Bates, and yeah, those are the kind of like main people in it. Max, what did you think of this movie?
So I kind of tipped my hand to you off air, and if someone's already read the review, they knew that I didn't like it, and like maybe maybe I was one of the few. I looked at like Rotten Tomatoes score, and it has like an 86. I'm like, people really, the critics really like this movie, and I'm like, not me though. I was like, I was totally bored by it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's this like idea where Sam Rockwell comes to the future, a la like Terminator 2, to like tell people of like a future that they have to avoid.
Right. Yeah,
And
AI is gonna take over, and we got to stop it, and we got to do it tonight. Like he shows up at this diner, like we got to recruit people from the diner. Some combination of you people is gonna like help me defeat the AI or whatever.
right, and then to add like a Edge of Tomorrow, all you need is kill type of twist. He has this ability where he can like go back to the beginning of the evening if he needs to, if he feels
Yeah.
like the mission's a failure, because he can just replay it over and over again until he finds the right combination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this one there's some people he hasn't worked with before, so that's definitely throwing things for a loop. But yeah, I was also not a fan of this move. I feel like it was kind of interesting in the beginning. I liked the stuff in the diner. I liked him being like, "We've done this before. This is like my 117th time doing this. Like the one guy volunteers, he's like, no, you have a bad knee, and I don't like you, and you're not helpful. Like, sit down." Like that kind of stuff was funny to me, but it just like, ugh, the movie like yanks you out with like the backstories of the different characters, right? And like, there's the Juno Temple one. By the way, I did not recognize Juno Temple at all
Neither
in
did
this
I.
movie
No.
for like a while. Like, and I was like, wait, that's Juno Temple I've been watching this entire time. And yeah, there's like it's like a bad Black Mirror episode.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a whole subplot in there that just it's too fucking long, this movie. It doesn't have anything interesting to say about AI. It's all low-hanging fruit, been there, done that, and it's boring. It wastes like so many good performers. It's very frustrating movie.
I agree fully. It's like there's like bad episodes of Black Mirror that like here it's like you're kind of getting in the groove of what this movie's trying to do. Here's like a 20-minute aside that you have to watch to learn more
Yeah.
about this character.
Yeah, let me yank you out of the movie for this backstory that it could be told in a much more cohesive way. And yeah, most of them aren't compelling either, but I did enjoy the one with Michael Pena where he was like touching I think he like
Yeah.
touches the kids' phones and they like turn
Right.
to zombies or something. That was funny.
Yeah, they're like, no, you never touch their phones.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's just going for broad things that like people generally know about, like beware of technology or doing too much scrolling on shorts and videos and what have you, or the dangers of replication. Like I think like there is literally like one of my favorite Black Mirror episodes. I guess it's with Domhnall Gleeson, and like
Oh yeah.
I think he like dies. I think it's called the History Review or something, the entire History Review, and they like make a clone of him, and like
Right.
she realizes like how like not great this clone is. It's literally the same plot of as this thing that happens in the movie.
Right. No, they told you're right. It is the plot of that. There's the plot of so many different Black Mirror episodes, but yeah, there's a whole subplot there that's without going to spoiler territory. It is extremely frustrating, man.
And it's like I like all these actors, and so
Same.
like on paper this should be like a slam dunk, but
Right.
I thought it was pretty tedious. there's like there's even like this weird CG monster thing at the end of the movie, and I'm just like, why?
Yeah,
I'm
it
like,
felt so stupid when he got to that.
yeah, but yeah, I wasn't a fan. I guess you weren't.
No, we're in the minority, I guess. I don't know what other movie people watched, but yeah.
But this I guess the reason why you and I saw it was because it's distributed by Briarcliff, and it didn't have like the widest distribution or the biggest, loudest promotional campaign. So I guess like here we are Sunday after it came out, and it didn't do humongous business, but that's just the measure of it, who distributed it and what have you. Evan, there was like this movie, I guess, that came in third this weekend called like Crime 101, and it has like this
Hmm.
like really fantastic cast, but I was like, one, I had never heard of this movie, and two, it was like literally the worst name for a movie I could ever imagine.
Yeah, it's horrendous. It's a horrendous name for a movie. But yeah, I think I saw it because I came across it on those like lists that we were looking at of like movies that are coming out this year for our,
Mm-hmm.
our preview. So that's the only reason it was on my radar. But yeah, not a good name.
No, and I guess like other movies that came out this weekend was like an animated movie called Goat, which is I think about like a literal goat
Literal goat. Yeah,
yeah,
who
who's
wants
a,
to
and
like play soccer or something.
then of course Wuthering Heights.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. The next movie that I'm really excited to see again was probably Project Hail Mary, and that's not too long now. So
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing that.
I think like it's directed by the team who did the Spider Verse movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Lord Miller. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gosling is in the role of the lead there. So yeah, that should be a fun time. I think it has like that they said like, oh, when they're on Earth, it's filmed in regular format, and if you go to IMAX, the space scenes are all done in like IMAX format. So I'm like, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've definitely come far afield for good luck, have fun, don't die. So I think that's probably our cue to wrap up this episode. But listeners, we hope you've enjoyed our discussion of stunts. And yeah, if you feel like we missed something or you have a stunt that you really feel like we should have included, or tell us some of your favorite stunts. We'd love to hear from you. Send us an email. It's pictures@gmail.com. And yeah, that does it for now. So we'll see you next time.